river was calm, but the air was thick with tension. The orc girl, Lura, struggled against the current, her long green hair wet and clinging to her face. She had never felt fear like this before. Not in the battles she fought in the village, not even in the darkest caves of the forest. But this fear, this was different. It was betrayal. Moments ago, her husband, Goran, had pushed her into the river. She remembered his cold eyes, the cruel smile, and the way he turned his back, thinking she would never survive. She gasped for air, splashing in the icy water, fighting against the strong flow. Each breath burned her lungs. Each wave threatened to drag her under. Why would he do this? Lura whispered to herself. Her voice was weak, trembling. She could see the shore, barely, the trees swaying in the wind, the muddy riverbank slipping further away as the current pulled her downstream. Panic tightened her chest. She had trusted him. She had loved him. And now, he wanted her gone. The river twisted and turned through the forest, carrying Lura further and further. She hit a fallen branch and nearly sank, clawing desperately at it to keep her head above water. The cold was shocking, stealing strength from her arms and legs. She shivered violently, her teeth chattering, but she refused to give up. Giving up meant death, and Lura was not ready to die. Not like this, not betrayed and alone. Somewhere in the distance, the sound of the forest seemed normal, peaceful even. Birds chirped, leaves rustled, and the river flowed as if nothing had happened. The world did not notice her struggle. It did not care. Only one person had caused this, and he was gone. Goran. Her mind flashed back to his eyes, so familiar, now full of hatred. Lura kicked hard, tried to push herself toward the bank. Mud and roots scratched her skin. She almost grabbed hold, but the current pulled her again. She flailed, panic rising. She could feel herself weakening. Her arms felt like lead. Her chest ached. She needed help. She needed someone, anyone. Then, through the haze of fear, she noticed something. A shadow on the riverbank. A man. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and moving quickly. Lura's heart jumped. "Help!" she screamed, her voice cracking. The man didn't hesitate. He ran along the shore, scanning the water, and jumped in with a powerful splash. The water rose around him, but he moved like he belonged there. Strong arms grabbed her just as the current tried to drag her away again. Lura's body ached, and tears mixed with the river water on her face. Who are you?" she gasped, clutching him. The man didn't answer at first. He just held her tightly, swimming with steady, calm strokes toward a small, hidden island in the middle of the river. Lura noticed something strange about him. He wore a strange suit covered in small metal pieces that glimmered in the sunlight. It seemed unnatural, powerful, safe. "You'll be safe now," he finally said, his voice deep and calm. Lura nodded, too exhausted to speak. She leaned on him as he pulled her out of the river and onto the soft grass of the island. Her body trembled violently, the cold and fear finally catching up with her. The man helped her sit, wrapping a thick cloth around her shoulders. Lura's eyes studied him. She wanted to ask questions, but her throat was too tight. Why'd he do this?" she whispered finally. The man looked at her carefully. "Some people are cruel, for reasons we may never understand," he said. His words were simple, but they carried weight. "But you're still alive, and that is what matters." Lura's mind swirled with confusion and disbelief. She had never felt so helpless. And yet, at the same time, something inside her stirred. Hope. The man who had saved her, maybe he could help her survive. Maybe he could help her fight back. From the riverbank, barely visible, Lura thought she saw a figure watching. Her husband, Goran. His eyes were sharp, scanning the water. He hadn't given up. He thought she was still vulnerable, still weak. He did not know she had been saved. He did not know what was coming. Lura pulled the cloth tighter around herself and shivered. She didn't know who this man was or why he had come to save her, but she felt a spark of something she hadn't felt in hours. Strength. Survival. Determination. The river flowed endlessly, carrying secrets and danger alike. And Lura knew one thing for certain. She would not die today. Not like this. Not by his hands. And someone, Someone had just made the impossible happen, saved her when everyone thought she was lost. As the sun dipped lower, casting golden light on the water, Lura looked at the man and whispered, "Thank you. But now what?" The man's eyes met hers, serious and unyielding. "Now we survive, and we prepare." And in that moment, the betrayal had only just begun. The island was small, just a patch of soft grass surrounded by rushing water. Lura shivered, hugging herself tightly as the man who had saved her sat nearby. His eyes were calm, almost unreadable, but full of quiet strength. For a moment, Lura felt like she could finally breathe. "You saved me, why?" she asked, her voice trembling. She expected him to ignore her, to leave as suddenly as he had appeared. But he didn't. "I don't save everyone," he said simply, his tone firm. "But you needed help." Lura studied him. His clothes weren't like anything she had ever seen in the village. Metal plates and straps, strange symbols etched into the fabric. Even the way he moved was different, almost like he was part of the river itself, cutting through the current with ease. She realized then that this man was no ordinary human. There was something special about him. "You're strong," he continued, "but the river is stronger. Alone, you would have drowned." She swallowed hard, feeling both embarrassed and grateful. I almost died," she whispered. "Because of him. My husband." The man's eyes darkened at the mention of Goran. "He is dangerous, but he won't stop at the river. You need to move. Quickly." Lura nodded, though fear still held her tight. She had trusted Goran once, believed in him, loved him. Now she realized how wrong she had been. Her heart ached, but the ache was turning into anger, a fire that burned hotter than fear. "Who are you?" she asked. Curiosity mixed with suspicion. "Why are you helping me?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he scanned the river, his gaze sharp, calculating. Finally, he spoke. "I'm called Kael. I protect those who cannot protect themselves. And sometimes, I correct wrongs that others think are impossible to fix." Lura blinked. "Impossible." Kael gave a small, almost amused smile. "Yes, things that seem hopeless, that's where I work best." Before Lura could ask more, a sound from the forest made her flinch. Twigs snapping. A low, deliberate crunch. Kael's head snapped toward the noise, eyes narrowing. Lura's pulse jumped. The sound repeated. Footsteps, fast and heavy, coming closer. "Goran," Lura whispered, fear and fury mixing in her chest. Kael's expression hardened. "He's following. He's persistent, but not clever enough. We will make sure he regrets underestimating you." Lura felt a shiver of both fear and hope. She had never imagined anyone standing up to Goran. And now, beside Kael, she felt for the first time that maybe survival wasn't just luck, it was strategy. Kael reached into his suit and pulled out a small device. It hummed with energy, glowing faintly blue. "This will protect us for a while. But we cannot stay here. The river can be our friend or our enemy. It's time to move." Lura nodded, gripping the cloth around her shoulders. Kael lifted her gently, but firmly, and together they swam to a narrow passage hidden by overhanging branches. The current was strong, but Kael guided them like a master navigator. Lura marveled at his skill, wondering how someone could be so calm in the face of danger. After a tense few minutes, they reached a small cave nestled among rocks at the river's edge. Kael helped her inside and blocked the entrance with heavy stones. Lura sank to the ground, exhausted but alive. Her mind raced. Goran was out there somewhere, furious that she had escaped. But she was safe for now. Kael knelt beside her, studying her with an intensity that made her heart beat faster. "You have strength," he said quietly. "Not just in your arms, but here," he tapped her chest. "Courage, anger, fear, all of it can be used. You could survive this, and more. But you must trust me." Lura hesitated. Trust was hard. She had been betrayed once. But looking at Kael, she realized that her survival depended on it. I trust you," she whispered. Kael nodded, almost approvingly. "Good. That is the first step." The cave was quiet, but tension lingered. Outside, the river roared, carrying secrets and danger alike. Lura could sense it, Goran would not give up. He would come for her, thinking she was weak, thinking she was alone. But now, with Kael by her side, she felt the first flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe she could fight back. As the sun dipped behind the trees, casting shadows across the river, Lura realized one terrifying truth. Survival was only the beginning. There were choices to make, plans to form, and enemies to confront. And with Kael, she might just have the strength to face them all. The river flowed endlessly, carrying both danger and salvation. And Lura knew that her life had changed forever, forever marked by betrayal, but also by the arrival of the man who made the impossible possible. The cave was quiet now, but Lura could feel her heart racing. She sat on a flat rock, wrapping the damp cloth tighter around her shoulders. Kael moved silently, checking the cave walls and the small opening that let in light. His movements were precise, careful, like he was trained to notice everything. "You've been following Goran for a long time, haven't you?" Lura asked suddenly, her curiosity cutting through the exhaustion. Kael paused, studying her. "Yes," he said, "but not for him alone. I follow many to protect them. Some don't even know they need protection." Lura frowned. Protection? From what? Kael sighed and crouched near the fire he had just started, the small flame casting shadows across his face. "From those who cannot see the value of life, and from the danger that waits in the shadows. Your husband is dangerous, yes, but he is not the real threat." "What do you mean?" Lura's voice was sharper now, fear mixed with frustration. "He tried to kill me. That isn't enough." Kael shook his head slowly. "No, he is just a piece of a much larger plan. A plan that could destroy more than just you, Lura. Your village, your people, everything." Lura's eyes widened. What are you talking about?" Kael's gaze was steady, calm, but serious. "There are forces beyond this forest. Humans, yes, but also other creatures, other races, who seek power. Goran is working for them, knowingly or unknowingly. He believes he is acting alone, but he is just a tool." Lura's stomach tightened. Her husband, a tool? For whom? She felt anger rise, hotter than ever. "And you are here to stop him?" Kael nodded. "Yes, and to help you survive. You have a choice, Lura. You can hide, stay fearful, and hope he doesn't come back. Or you can fight. You can become part of something greater than yourself." The words sank into her mind. Fight, be part of something greater. She had always thought of herself as an orc girl, small in a world of warriors. She had survived hardships, yes, but nothing like this. Could she really fight back? Could she trust Kael enough to follow him into danger? Before she could answer, a faint sound reached the cave entrance. Twigs snapping, leaves rustling. Someone was approaching. Lura froze. Kael's body stiffened instantly. "Goran," she whispered. Kael shook his head. "No, not him, but someone who works for him. Scouts. Scouts." Lura's voice trembled. "How many?" Kael counted silently, his eyes narrowing. "2, maybe 3. They are watching, learning. If they find us, trouble will follow." Lura's mind raced. She wanted to run, to hide, but Kael's presence calmed her. He moved quickly, taking out a small device from his belt. It hummed softly, and a faint blue shield appeared around the cave entrance. Nearly invisible, but strong enough to stop detection. "They won't see us for now," Kael whispered. "But we cannot stay here long. You need to understand something, Lura. You are not just a victim. You are someone who can change the outcome." "Me?" Lura asked, almost laughing nervously. "I'm just an orc girl. What can I do?" Kael looked at her, his eyes serious. "You survived when others would have drowned. That shows strength, instinct, and courage. That is rare. That is why you matter. That is why I am here." Lura felt a mix of fear and pride. She had never been seen like this, someone recognizing her potential, her strength. It gave her hope. Kael stood and moved closer to her. "We leave at night. You will see the river from a different side, and there we will find what you need to stop Goran and to protect your people. But you must promise to follow me. No hositashchen. Trust me completely." Lura hesitated for only a moment. Then she nodded, determination hardening inside her. "I will follow you. I want to fight back." Kael smiled faintly. Good. You are ready for the next step. As darkness fell outside, the forest seemed alive with sounds. The river whispered, carrying secrets downstream. Lura felt the weight of what was coming. Danger, confrontation, and revelations. But for the first time, she did not feel powerless. She was not alone. Something inside her had awakened. Courage, anger, determination, and a flicker of hope. Kael extended his hand. Gulme, it's time to see the truth. The world is bigger than this forest, Lura, and the people you trust may not be what they seem. She took his hand, gripping it tightly. In that moment, she understood her life had changed forever. Betrayal had led her here, but survival had given her a choice. And now, she would see the hidden truth, no matter how dangerous it was. From outside, the river roared, carrying the distant sounds of movement. Someone was watching, waiting, but Kael and Lura were ready. Together. And the real journey was about to begin. Night had fallen over the forest, and the river shimmered faintly under the moonlight. Lura crouched behind a thick tree trunk, her green eyes scanning the shadows. Beside her, Kael moved silently, every step calculated, every movement precise. This is it, Kael whispered. Goran believes you are weak. He believes he has control. But tonight we change that. Lura's hands clenched. Her heart raced. Not with fear this time, but with determination. For the first time since the river incident, she felt a spark of power. She was no longer the victim. She was ready to fight back. Kael pointed to a small clearing ahead. He has his guards here. Not many, but they are alert. We need a distraction. Lura tilted her head. A distraction? What do you mean? Kael smiled faintly. Watch and learn. He reached into his suit and pulled out a small device. It buzzed softly and emitted a faint blue light. Suddenly, a shadow appeared across the clearing, an illusion of movement, like a phantom figure. The guards immediately turned toward it, shouting warnings. Lura gasped. That's incredible. Kael whispered. It's called projection. A human tool. Very simple, very effective. Now move. Lura followed Kael through the underbrush. Her heart pounded in her chest. Every step felt like a battle, every shadow a potential threat. The forest was alive with noises, the rustle of leaves, the snapping of twigs, the distant calls of animals. But Lura only had eyes for one target, Goran. Finally, they reached a hidden path that led behind Goran's camp. From there, they could see him clearly. He was standing near a fire, his cruel smile visible even in the dim light. Guards surrounded him, but he looked confident, careless. Lura's stomach twisted with anger. She had loved him once, trusted him, and now, he thought he could still control her. Kael whispered, we need to make him believe he is winning, then strike. Lura nodded, her green skin glinting in the moonlight. She felt fear, yes, but also something stronger, courage. She remembered the river, the cold, the helplessness. That moment had changed her. She would never be weak again. Kael moved first. With silent precision, he disabled two of the guards, using small tools that made no sound. Lura watched, learning. She noticed how Kael's movements were precise, almost like water flowing around rocks, smooth, effortless, unstoppable. Then Kael turned to her. Your turn. Distract him. Lead him into the clearing. Make him think he has the advantage. Lura swallowed hard. Her hands trembled, but she nodded. Stepping out into a small path, she called Goran's name. Goran! The man's head snapped up. His eyes widened. Lura! She took a step forward, then another, forcing him to follow her deeper into the clearing. Yes, me. Are you going to face me, or run? Her voice was steady now, filled with anger and determination. Goran's eyes flashed with rage. You insolent fool, he shouted, charging at her. But as he ran, he didn't notice Kael moving silently through the shadows, disabling guards, and positioning himself behind the man who had betrayed Lura. Lura ran deeper into the clearing, keeping Goran's attention. Her heart pounded in rhythm with the distant river. Then, at the right moment, Kael activated another device, a net of glowing threads that shot from the ground and wrapped around Goran, pulling him to the ground in a flash of light. Goran struggled, his hands clawing at the threads, but he could not escape. Lura stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "It's over, Goran. You underestimated me." In him, Kael stepped out of the shadows, his calm presence intimidating. "You chose betrayal," he said. "Now face the consequences. Not just for you, but for everyone you would have harmed." Goran snarled, his pride wounded more than his body. This isn't the end." Lura took a deep breath. She could feel the power in her veins, the strength she had found through fear and survival. "It is for me," she said softly. "It's the end of your control, the end of your lies." Kael nodded approvingly. "Now we leave. He can no longer harm you or your people. But remember, Lura, the fight isn't over. There are others, and there's more to learn. Survival alone is not enough. We must be ready." Lura glanced at Goran, still trapped, still struggling. She felt no pity, not anymore. Only a quiet sense of justice. "I'm ready," she said, her voice firm. "Ready for whatever comes next." The forest was silent again, except for the distant river, carrying sounds of movement downstream. Lura and Kael disappeared into the shadows, leaving Goran bound, humiliated, and defeated. For the first time, Lura realized something profound. Fear had taught her survival, but courage had taught her strength. And with Kael by her side, she knew they could face anything. The night sky stretched above them, full of stars and possibilities. The river whispered secrets of the forest, and Lura knew that the path ahead would be dangerous, but would also be hers to command. And somewhere in the distance, unseen eyes watched. New challenges were coming, but Lura was ready. She had survived betrayal, and now she would face the world with the power she had found within herself. The first light of dawn broke through the forest canopy, casting a soft glow on the river. Lura stood at the edge, her green eyes reflecting the water. Beside her, Kael adjusted his suit, scanning the surroundings. The night had been long, and Goran's defeat in the clearing had been satisfying, but the real test was still ahead. Goran was alive. Trapped, humiliated, yes, but alive. And somewhere he was plotting. Lura's stomach tightened. She had learned the hard way that people like him never gave up. "He won't give up easily," Kael said quietly. "He thinks he can still turn the situation in his favor." "I know," Lura replied, her voice calm but firm. "And that's why we can't fight him like before. This time, we need to be smarter." Kael nodded. "Exactly. This is not about brute force. It's about using the mind, the heart, and everything humans do best. Ingenuity." Lura took a deep breath, recalling everything she had endured. The river, the betrayal, the fear, the desperate fight for survival. All of it had led her here. She felt a strange calmness settle in her chest. She was no longer just the victim of a cruel husband. She was a warrior in her own right, a survivor. And this time, she would decide the outcome. Kael led her along a narrow path, hidden by trees and vines. Ahead, Goran had set up a small camp, still guarded by a few loyal followers. He had learned nothing from his defeat. He believed he could still manipulate Lura, still control her. Lura's lips curled into a small smile. "He underestimates me," she whispered. "And he always will." Kael stopped and turned to her. "We do this together. Trust me completely." She nodded, gripping the strap of her satchel. Together, they approached the camp. Kael activated a small device, creating a faint fog that obscured their movements. Lura felt the thrill of anticipation, her heart pounding, not with fear, but with power. They reached the center of the camp silently. Goran was speaking, his voice loud and commanding. He hadn't noticed him yet. Kael whispered a plan. "You confront him directly. Make him think he has a chance. I'll handle the rest." Lura stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. "Goran." The man turned, his eyes wide with shock. "Lura." "Yes," she said, holding his gaze. "I survived your river. I survived your lies. And now, I am here to end this." Goran lunged at her, but Lura moved with precision, dodging him easily. He stumbled, surprised by her skill and confidence. At that moment, Kael activated a series of devices hidden around the camp. Nets, energy pulses and restraints that bound the guards without harming them. The humans' ingenuity had trapped them all before they could react. Goran roared in frustration, realizing he had been outsmarted. This isn't possible. Lura stepped closer, her green eyes blazing. It is possible, she said firmly, because I'm not alone, and I will never let you control me again. Kael emerged from the shadows, standing beside her. Your reign of fear ends today, Goran. And there is something else you must understand. He activated a final device, projecting a holographic image of Goran's allies in the forest. Those who had been working with him, now revealed to the village. Everyone who helped you will face justice. But your choices brought you here. Look at what betrayal has done to you. Goran's face twisted with rage, but he was trapped, powerless. Lura approached him slowly, her anger now mixed with resolve. You tried to take my life, but you didn't succeed. I survived, and I've grown stronger because of it. What you see here, this is your defeat. And then, in a moment no one expected, Lura extended her hand. Goran froze. I will not kill you, she said calmly, but I will make sure you never harm anyone again. Mercy is stronger than revenge. Goran stared at her, disbelief and fury mixing in his eyes. Kael smiled faintly. Humans and orcs are clever. Strength is not just muscle. It is mind, courage, and choice. With that, the restraints fully secured Goran and his followers. Lura and Kael left the camp together, the first rays of sun warming their faces. The forest was quiet, peaceful for the first time in days. Lura felt the river's memory fade, the fear, the betrayal, but the lessons remained. She had survived, she had fought, and she had chosen mercy over hatred. Kael looked at her. You have done well, Lura, but the world is still large, still dangerous. This is only the beginning. Lura smiled, a mix of exhaustion and triumph. Then we face it together. Whatever comes next, I'm ready. The river flowed behind them, carrying whispers of the past and promises of the future. Lura had emerged from the darkness, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Betrayal had almost ended her, but survival, courage, and human ingenuity had given her an unbelievable victory. And somewhere deep in the forest, hidden eyes watched. But Lura no longer feared what she could not see. She had found her strength. She had found her ally. And she had proven that even the most impossible situations could be overcome if one had courage, cleverness, and the heart to fight.